Algae was taking over our 5-liter Iwagumi, and scraping it all the time wasn't fun. So we called in some reinforcements. Our viewers suggested shrimp or snails, and since the tank's too small for shrimp, we went with snails, and they got straight to work. As you can see, this tank needed a bit of a maintenance session, so we got our scraper and our toothbrush ready and went to work. Our scraper is too big for this tiny tank, but it's the only one we have, so we'll use it to remove as much algae as we can from the glass, and for the area behind the stones, where the scraper can't reach, we'll switch to a toothbrush. As much as we love this tiny tank, it's not the easiest to clean. It's really compact, and we didn't leave much space between the hardscape and the glass, so reaching some areas is a little bit tricky. The toothbrush makes it much easier to reach the tight spaces around the stones and even clean along the seams of the tank. We're also giving the hair grass a gentle stir to loosen up the algae that's settled on it. We have to be a little careful here. We don't want to accidentally pull the hair grass out while we're cleaning. The tank's looking a bit mucky now that we've stirred everything up, but no worries, a quick water change will clear it right up. Since we're doing a water change, we'll take the filter out, because we need to give it a clean as well. We'll move the hose close to the dwarf hair grass to suck up as much algae as possible. The filter floss trapped a lot of muck, so we'll replace it with a new one. Then we'll clean the filter in the bucket of tank water from the water change, so we don't rinse it directly under the tap water. For a tiny filter like this, a toothbrush works best, so we'll use it to scrub everything clean as much as possible. It doesn't have to be perfect. Now let's put the filter back in with the sponge and the fresh piece of filter floss. Before turning it on, we need to remember to prime it, and that just means filling it with water so it doesn't run dry and can start working properly. But before priming the filter, we'll top up the tank. The nice thing about a small aquarium like this is you don't need buckets of water. A little jug does the job, and it fills up pretty quickly. To prime the filter, just pour water in until it begins flowing out. That's how you know it's full and good to go. As we filled the tank, there was still a bit of floating debris, so we used some tissue paper on the surface to collect it and lift it out. We're adding a water conditioner to remove chlorine from the tap water. We're also adding Seachem stability to boost beneficial bacteria, and some fertilizer from APT for the plants. None of this is sponsored, we just really like these products and they've worked great for us. After turning on the filter, it usually gets a bit loud. That's just the sound of it pushing out trapped air bubbles, and once those are gone, it runs quietly again. Since we're adding snails, we want to make sure the water parameters are good. So let's go ahead and test the water to be sure everything's safe for them. The first thing we're testing is the pH. The reagent turned our sample water green, and when we compare it to the chart, it shows we're in the correct range. The next parameter we're testing is NH4, which shows the total ammonia in the tank. In a healthy aquarium, this should always stay 0. This is our test vial with the reagent, and you can see the tint of the water is yellowish. And this is the control vial, which helps us compare the colors. I'm trying to show you here what I'm seeing. Essentially, our test vial turned yellow, which means there's no ammonia. Even the lowest values that you see here on the chart show green, so yellow confirms we're at 0. Our next test is for nitrite, NO2. This tells us how well the tank's bacteria are processing waste. High levels can be toxic for fish and snails. Our result is around 0.05, which is great. It means everything is under control and in the correct range. Last but not least, we're testing for NO3, which is nitrate. Nitrate is the end product of the nitrogen cycle. It's not as toxic as ammonia, but it can build up over time, so it's important to keep an eye on it. Our vial shows a strong yellow tint, which means we're in a good range. The value is around 5, which is perfect and well within the safe range. We also have a full video on water testing with the JBL Pro Aqua test, where we go into a lot more detail. I'll link it at the end if you'd like to see exactly how this kit works. Now that we know the water parameters are good, we'll head over to one of our other tanks and grab a few snails to start acclimating them. First, we'll take some water from their current tank and add it to a glass container. This is the water they're used to, and then we'll acclimate them with water from our 5-liter Iwagumi. Not sure if a net or just picking them up by hand would be easier, but I'll try catching a couple of snails with a net first. Yeah, this is not going to work. We need to pick them up by hand. Trying not to scare everyone in the tank, but the shrimp are freaking out a bit. We're only taking 2 Ramshorns to start with, and with a bit of luck they might have babies in the 5-liter tank. A lot of people think of them as pest snails, but we actually really like them. Now we'll slowly start adding water from the 5-liter tank to help the snails acclimate. We've acclimated the snails for about half an hour, and now it's time to move them into their new home. I'll place them right on the stones, maybe that will give them a hint about what needs cleaning first. This snail is already on the move, cleaning up the stones nicely. And the other one is still hanging out in the grass, but we can see he's moving, so he's fine. Since we've added snails to the tank, we need to keep an eye on the temperature, especially now that the colder season is coming. So we found this small heater that's perfect for a tiny tank. And the heater has a preset of 25 degrees Celsius, that's around 77 degrees Fahrenheit, and this will work great for the snails in the tank. The pack comes with this little cable guide, which helps keep the heater's cord in place. And it also includes suction cups, so you can secure the heater neatly inside the tank. Another interesting thing they included are these stickers, and you can use them to camouflage the heater. Depending on your aquascape style, these might actually come in handy. To attach the suction cups, you just need to slide them all the way in. It's pretty easy to do. Now that the suction cups are on, we're carefully sliding the heater into the tank, trying not to squish any of the plants along the way. Even though this heater is preset to 25 degrees Celsius, we still want to keep an eye on the actual water temperature. And for that, we're using this tiny JBL thermometer, which is perfect for the size of a tank. We decided to add a few more snails to the tank, Nerite snails this time. They're amazing at maintaining a tank clean, probably the best algae eaters you can get, and they look adorable, with their little horns and bright colors. We'll start acclimating the Nerite snails, but first we need to explain what's happening here with this bag. So the person at the fish shop that prepared the snails for us to take put just 1 or 2 hands of water, so it's a bit difficult to actually keep the snails under the amount of water while we're trying to acclimate them. But tilting the bag and guiding all the water in one corner of the bag might help, so we'll just try this. We'll take some water from the 5-liter tank and use it to acclimate the Nerite snails, just like we did earlier with the Ramshorns. Now the snails are ready, so we can move them into the tank. We'll try placing them directly on the stones, this way they can start exploring right away. The snails are settling in nicely and they look amazing in the tank. We're really excited to see how much of a difference they make in terms of tank maintenance. If you're enjoying this little tank, I'll link the build video at the end if you want to check that out too. And if you have any thoughts or questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Also, if you're enjoying these videos and want to support the channel, please consider subscribing.